Karibu tena Madam Joyce.
Asante sana.
Uko vipi lakini?
Niko sawa kabisa.
Weekend imekuwa poa
kabisa.
Unakaa smart.
Nashukuru.
Amen.
Nashukuru.
So this thing Madam Joyce Mghoi, post-election grief, coping mechanism and its effect on work.
Yes.
Na productivity.
Yes.
Juzi nimekuwa na employee mmoja tukichapa gumzo hapa na pale. Akaniambia wale watu wangu walikuwa wanakuja kazi saa 2. Siku hizi kuna mwenye anakuja saa 4, mwingine anakuja saa 8.
Yes.
Wananiomba hivyo ovyo. Productivity.
It has affected productivity.
Kama kuna boss anatusikiliza, I think anaweza
understand. Aelewe that this post-election grief and post-election grief has really affected people in many ways. So ukiona watu wakiwa lax at workplace is also because of not knowing what next. They are still thinking. Some of them are grieving because probably the people they were supporting did not make it. Others are celebrating and are happy. They are not through with celebration.
Sawa msikilizaji, basi tuambie, that is our topic this morning. Post-election grief and coping mechanism and of course its effect on work productivity. 0748 39 100 1. That is our SMS and of course the mitandao ya kijamii,
Facebook, Twitter na Instagram ya Chuka University Radio,
Touch of Grace,
KE pale YouTube na Facebook tuko kule.
Sicheze mbali.
Madam Joyce Mghoi.
If you miss anything here, utakunipata kule YouTube,
una subscribe na una ring your bell.
Kuna kitu anasemaga comment.
Comment.
If I give an okay kwa Madam Joyce Mghoi, endelea msikilizaji. Now kama hujawahi chukua radio yako, chukua leo. Chukua kikombe cha chai and listen to this. Kwako Madam Joyce Mghoi. All this coping mechanism and productivity.
Post-election grief and coping mechanism. We need to know that election is actually a source of stress, significant stress during the campaigns, during all that preparation for election. People go through a lot of stress. People go through a lot of expectation. People go through a lot of hope. There is a lot of work that is done during elections. So once elections are over, there is that period. The other time we were talking about the transition, anticipated transition and unanticipated transition. Anticipated transition is that which will come. So there are people who probably are going through anticipated transition, which is easier to deal with. There are those that are dealing with an anticipated transition. Other than, because there were different positions for elections. There were different positions from MCA, from women rep, from MP, from senators, from governors, and so on. And people voted. People went out there and voted for the candidate of their choice. So the process itself of election is a very good process, and everybody should actually embrace it. And people should not feel guilty for voting and for voting the way they voted. Because you voted for the best person that you thought was the best person at the time that you were voting. So it was a good process, and it is a good process. Let people vote, and people have voted. And after voting, there is that after voting. The after voting can bring a lot of anxiety, can bring a lot of stress. Actually, even after you have voted, waiting for the results, like the people of Mombasa, the people of Kakamega right now, most of them could be glued in the TV, could be glued in the radio, listening. Alafu kuna kale kawimbo wanawekanga kanaleta tension. Mnakajua kale kawimbo? Wanaweka kawimbo hapo kanaleta tension. So when you are waiting for the results, there is a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of anxiety. There is a lot of, stress that is related to that particular time. And then after the results are out, now, that's where also problems start. For those that their people have won, they celebrate. For those that their people did not win, they also go through a lot of stress. And this is the stress we are really talking about. The post-election grief and then we look at the coping mechanism, and we look at its effect on productivity. That you realize that after people had voted and they are there waiting for the results to come out, people did not feel like they wanted to go to work before they know who has won. And even when they know who has won, they still have the feeling of anxiety, because some people who have won and some people who have not won, those who have not won are saying maybe there was, theft, maybe there were issues there, and therefore there is still the process still we are waiting for. So that is how now people get stress, anxiety, and we really need to talk about this. So there are about 4 stages or 5 stages of
coping.
Of grief, of grief and loss. That is when immediately the results were out, there was the shock. People were shocked. Some mshtuko, yes, because some people were shocked because the people they expected would win, they did not win. Some were shocked because they cannot believe that they have actually won. And then they go into denial. People go into denial. Those who have lost, they start saying, are you sure? No, please check again. Can these votes be counted again? Because I really don't think I have lost. There is that stage. They go through that stage of denial. And even when you tell someone, so and so won, you can hear them say, no, that's a joke. That person cannot have won. We expected so and so to win, but not so and so. So they go into denial. So there are those stages that you really need to we understand them. The shock, people are shocked. There's the disbelief, the denial, the denial. Then the anger. Some people have gone into anger. Some people have gone into anger. You can see it in the social media. Exactly. You can see the way people are talking,
They are angry.
The people are angry. People are angry, insulting each other. People saying things that you even, they are outrageous. So there is the anger part. Someone becomes angry when the person they voted for did not win. The anger. Then there is the bargaining stage. And when I am saying the people they expected to win did not win, I also mean the person who expected to win, because he's also there. So the person also goes through these stages. He expected to win, or she expected to win. She didn't win. So she goes through shock, denial, anger, becomes very angry. Then people reach bargaining stage. Actually, right now in Kenya, we are at bargaining stage. The bargaining stage is, God, wacha huyu mtu wangu nilipigia kura, wacha koti isiseme ati hakuwin. Then there is the other one who will also say, God, let my person wacha haki itendeke. We are here at the bargaining stage. At the bargaining stage is where people even can promise very good things. Bargaining stage, you can promise even God very good things. God, if you allow ukinitendea hii, this is what I will do. People are bargaining. There are also those that are in bargaining stage, hoping that this was a dream. They will wake up and there will be a reality. So there is that bargaining stage people go through. Then people will reach the stage of depression. The stage of depression is the stage of quiet. The stage of quiet. And that's why some of you are saying, could be people who are, there were people who are mobbing politicians.
Exactly.
Actually, walikuwa wanaamka asubuhi wana find out politicians wako wapi. So they were moving with them from one place to another. Right now, they are in a state of quiet, in a state of depression, in a state of even phones have stopped ringing, phones have stopped ringing, both for those that were staunch supporters and for those that were vying. So phones have stopped ringing. So there is that depression stage, that reality that actually I won or I did not win.
And of course,
there is that quiet stage.
Some sense of betrayal.
Some sense of betrayal. Some sense of betrayal. So from this stage now, it moves to acceptance stage, which is what I desire people reach, so that productivity, people going back to work, people doing their work the way they are expected to work, reporting to work the way they are expected to report, doing, and irrespective of who won and who did not win, people going back and starting to work. So I wanted to say that there are some symptoms that show that people are going through grief. And of course, they need to have some coping mechanisms. There are some signs, like we have emotional symptoms. we have physical symptoms, we have spiritual symptoms. Emotional symptoms are like sadness. Some people are really sad. They are really sad because the elections did not go the way they wanted. Some people are still in guilty. Some people are, in fear. Some people are angry, and so on. Then physical symptoms are fatigue. There are people who will sleep for, people have been sleeping for 2 weeks or even over 2 weeks. Exactly. And there are some people who may sleep even for a month. When I say sleeping, I don't mean continuous. I mean resting. Resting at home because they are fatigued. They are fatigued. They are completely fatigued. They are then those people that will have insomnia, restlessness. They don't really sleep because of this particular stage. Then we have the spiritual symptoms, the bargaining that I've told you about, the prayerfulness. People praying. We've seen even during the period of elections, politicians were really going to church, or at least were being shown they are going to church. Under normal circumstances, sometimes we may not be shown whether they have been going to church. But now during the election period, there was that prayerfulness, sacrifices, giving out, giving out in terms of money, in terms of whatever, seeking servants of God to pray for them and so on. So there is that. Those are symptoms now of these stages of loss and grief, and people trying to see how they can be able to cope with it. So you can be able to know someone is going through this by seeing these symptoms, by seeing these symptoms with them. Now, what I want to say and what people need to know is that elections, not only in Kenya, but all over the world where we have elections, everybody votes, or at least 70%, if we are saying 70% of people vote. Now, these 70% of people who are voting, everybody has their preferred candidate. And the rule is the majority wins. The majority win. Those who vote more for this candidate A, they win. They will win. So the people who end up finding themselves that their candidate did not win, they must sit down and understand the process. If we are 3 here and we are voting for somebody, and 2 of us vote for one person, one person votes for the other person. This one person who has lost needs to actually say, okay, this was my preferred candidate, but the masses have decided. They have decided, and then finds a way of compromising with that and finding a way of accepting that.
And maybe Madam Joyce Mghoi, before we continue a question just there.
Yes.
Is there a point that these issues can make a habit? Kwa mfano kama hizi griefs zinaweza contribute into your character as a citizen, ama mtu mwenye umehusika in one way or the other in these campaigns. Maybe as a result umeamua nimechoka because I lost, just want to give up. In the process of giving up, job you'll put in late, you're not productive. Can that be you in the rest of your life?
Okay, now that's why we are talking about coping mechanism, so that you can come back to normal life. Because under normal circumstances, we don't expect you to become bitter throughout your life. We don't expect you to become depressed throughout your life. We don't expect you to bargain throughout your life, or to be in anger throughout your life, or to be in denial throughout your life, or to be in shock throughout your life. There must be a stage where you reach acceptance stage. You accept and move on. However, this can be very, very difficult. The reason why it can be very difficult is because of what people put in during the campaigns. People put in a lot. People put in their time. People put in their resources. People put in their relationships. People put on their relationships. People put in so much into the elections. So when someone does not win the elections, they feel betrayal, as you are saying. They feel betrayed. There are people out here that you will meet with them and they will ask you, I'm suspecting hukunivotia, ama hukutuvotia, ama hukuvotia mtu wangu. Are you getting that?
Nimeona wengine hadi wanakuja kuchukua vitu waliwapea. Kama alikupea thermos,
are you serious?
Kama alikupea chumvi.
Wanarudia.
By the
way, the bitterness that comes after losing an election, it can actually lead to that. It can actually lead to that because you've invested almost everything. Some people have borrowed loans, right, left, and center, hoping that they are going to win. Unfortunately, when people lose, they even know which areas they did not win.
Exactly.
So if it is this village, sasa mtajua tu hii village
Nikitu harambee huko haitapita ya funde. Tena unajua kuna watu ambao walikuwa wameresign kazi ambazo walikuwa nazo kwa sababu wale waheshimiwa wakati huo walikuwa wanaitwa waheshimiwa walikuwa wamewapromise kwamba mimi nikiingia utakuwa PA, nikiingia utakuwa county sijui minister kidogo hapo. Au sasa watafanya aje?
So ni kama kutolewa nyama kwa mdomo.
Ndio.
That you are seeing it ndio hii imekuja umepromisiwa kabisa and then finally it doesn't really come. They still need to go through these processes and they still need to reach acceptance stage. They still need to reach acceptance stage and they still need to know that this is politics. The majority wins. The majority win, and it is nothing personal, and it is nothing, that is so personal, because some people feel personal. Some people feel personal, and they become bitter with people. They don't want to see anyone. They don't want, they almost hate almost everyone. But I want to tell them that this is a stage. These are stages, about 5 stages, 6 stages that they need to go through, so that they can come out strong and reach acceptance stage and say, okay, this was an election, the majority win, and unfortunately it was not me that won this time, it is not my person that won this time, and it doesn't mean that if they stand next time, they will not win. Actually, it doesn't mean that. It only means that this time people have favored candidate A more than candidate B. Next time, people may favor candidate B. People may favor candidate B. So let them not look, catastrophize it. Catastrophizing is making it look like everything is over, my life is over, and everything is gone. Life can never be the same again. That is my message. So that life can still continue.
There's 2 groups. There are 2 groups.
Yes.
The contester, that's the politician, and the supporter. Now coping.
Coping mechanism.
Because Washira was supporting Madam Joyce, and CJ was supporting another candidate. Mimi na Washira. Bro, candidate wako alipita wangu akupita.
Ndio.
Hii show utapiga peke yako.
Hii show utapiga peke yako because you are still bitter that your candidate did not win. You still need to go through the 6 stages. You need to go through shock. Shock and disbelief.
Definitely lazima ushtuke.
Shock and disbelief.
Kwanza unajua siku hizi Madam Joyce kuna kitu ameleta, results zina flow kizi.
Zina flow, imagine ukiziangalia, tension inaendelea ikipanda tu, unakunywa maji, unatembea, unaenda kujisaidia, unarudi,
ni kama M-Pesa balance. Unaangalia vile kanaisha.
So shock and disbelief. Denial stage. You go through denial stage. Denial stage is confirming. Confirming, really confirming that, are you serious? I did not win. Are you serious? My candidate did not win. Then the anger. The anger is these people, the way they were mobbing me, the way they were following me, the way they were calling me mheshimiwa, the way they were calling me whatever. Ground iko sawa, walikuwa wananiashua ground iko sawa. Pesa nilikuwa natoa vile ninastahili kutoa kwa sababu ya, and by the way, this money issue is another thing that the government needs to address. This issue of politicians giving money is what is bringing all these problems. We will never get the best candidate. We will only get the candidate who has more money. And that's very unfortunate.
And who's the issue?
And that is very unfortunate. Both of them are issues. The ones receiving and the ones giving. They are the issue. So the government needs to come in and say, this issue, we have to visit.
There's a case in Mombasa. Yesterday, voters went to the polling station. They stayed there.
They stayed at the polling station.
They never, at the gate, they never went to vote.
They didn't vote.
So they stayed there. Waiting for Mr. Politician, not their preferred candidate. Any of them
will come and give them. Are you serious? Exactly. And did it happen? Did the politicians rise to the occasion and give the money?
Something might happen.
You never know.
Beyond our eyes.
You never know. That is why now I'm saying, So there is the anger stage. You are angry because these people, they spent your money. These people, they waited for you at the gate. You gave them money, and then they went, and voted, and incidentally you did not win. There is that anger part, and then now the bargaining, the hoping things will change, and then the depression, and then the acceptance. All of them, the supporter and the one who vied, must go through these 6 stages.
How are you coping with the mechanisms, dear listener jamani? Sema nasi tuambie mambo inakuwa namna gani. This is just the first part of our discussion this morning. And of course, if you're getting on of this, remember to share your thought or your thinking or remarks with us through 07. Madam Joyce Mghoi is ready to elaborate everything that we left out. And of course, now Madam Joyce Mghoi, kuna ile anxiety.
Yes. Kuna anxiety.
The effects now.
Kuna anxiety na iko na effects zake. That kuna ile post-election anxiety. It has its own effects.
Yeah.
There is the tension that we talked about, being glued to the TV, being glued to news, asking people around, buying newspapers. And then there is also the heated conversation that arises, especially when you are debating with someone probably who is of the opposite opinion. There is the heated debate that is really there. There is the name calling. Sometimes people are calling each other names because of this. There is the family division, because in a family, there could be children are supporting candidate A and the other family members are supporting candidate B. Or your brothers are supporting candidate A, you are supporting candidate B. So there is also the family division. There is the family division there. So when the election is over and you really quarrel with your brother, it becomes, a challenge because of that. There is the despair, from the election loss, the despair. There is the overwhelming, the feeling of overwhelming, the feeling of exhaustion, the feeling of restlessness. Sometimes even pressure goes up and so on. And the candidates' feeling and the supporters' feeling is of that one of waste of time, that we have wasted a lot of time, we've wasted a lot of resources. The feeling of rejection, actually is something that can really crush people, because when you are looking at people, you are feeling that they rejected you. And this is what I am saying now as a psychologist. Let the candidates don't feel like the people rejected them. It may not have been time for them. That if probably they didn't win now, they may win another time. So they need to go through these stages of grief and be able to become strong so that they can live to fight another day. They also have a feeling of they are being misled, or sometimes they also feel they didn't do enough, because there are people who probably are telling them, you didn't come here, you didn't do this, you didn't give us enough money, and so on. And then there's also the feeling of opinion polls. Opinion polls, sometimes they lie. Opinion polls, they tell you that you are the one who is winning, and kumbe, you're not, you're not, things can change. Things can change even overnight. And the feeling of being led on, that you people told me I can win, and I did not win. So there is that post-election anxiety that people have, and we are talking about it. As psychologists, we are saying there is hope. In every contest, in every place where people are competing, there is a winner and there is a loser. We don't call them a loser. And there is the postponed winning. There is the postponed winning. You will win again another time. So we are just there to give them hope and encouragement that life can continue and they will live to fight another day. Again, history has shown us a number of people that win, they may have contested again and again. So that person who was probably contesting for the first time, let them not feel discouraged that they did not do enough. Now people have known them. Maybe next time they'll be able to win. So there are things that they need to do. But Washira had a question there.
Kuna jamaa hapa anaitwa Steven Njagi. Amesema kwamba coping mechanism hiyo ndio challenge kubwa sana kwa most Kenyans. Na akasema ni a very inspiring topic. Amewasalimia nyote. Lakini before tuzame pale, nilikuwa naongea kuhusu mambo na resigning. Kuna watu ambao kulingana na kisheria walikuwa wameambiwa kwamba kama ni public office ulikuwa na head, lazima kwanza uresign kwa barua, then utoke sasa ndio uende kwa campaign sasa uweze kuchaguliwa. Sasa resign kazi, ukaingia kwenye campaigns, ukatumia mshahara yako na loans na nini, hatukukupatia hiyo kiti utuongoze. What will you do?
Now, if you resigned from your job, if you resigned from a job and you went to campaign and you did not, okay, there are some organizations and some companies that give you leave of absence. So for those people who come from organizations that give them leave of absence, those ones are lucky because they will just go back. If they took leave of absence for 1 year, after 1 year, they will just go back to their organizations and continue to work. So there are those organizations that are not government bodies that give them leave of absence. You go, you do your thing. You're not paid during that time. You just take leave of absence, you go and do your own business, and you come back. So for those ones, they are lucky because they can still go back to their organization and continue with their work. Now, for those that came in organizations where ukiresign ukienda unaenda, they need to sit down. They need to sit down. Go through these coping mechanisms and be able to reach acceptance stage. Once they reach acceptance stage, they open their eyes.
Kujikubali.
Yes, kukubali. Ya kwamba this thing did not work. And then they let them open their mind, let them think out of the box. There is something in this society that they can be able to do that can still give them some kind of income and they can be able to make it in life. So they should not give up totally and they should not feel frustrated. These things happen. They should not become depressed in such a way that they don't pick themselves up. We have people that can give them therapy other than the coping mechanisms that I talked about. If someone can be able to deal with them themselves until finally they are okay, it's okay. If they need to talk to people, then we are looking here at other things that they can be able to do, the coping mechanisms. Can I now continue with them? Very briefly and very quickly. Now, how do you cope? Now you are there, you have lost, or your person has lost. That is the category that is mostly at risk. This other category where people have won, they are easy to relax and settle and recover. So avoid dwelling on things that you cannot be able to control. So don't continue to discuss things that you cannot be able to control. Avoid catastrophizing, just the way I'm saying. Losing an election is not the worst thing that can happen to somebody. It's not the worst thing that can happen to somebody. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of your life. So don't catastrophize. And then avoid ruminating on bad outcome. That is thinking about it, living it, the way you are campaigning, the way you are giving, the way you are whatever. So avoid ruminating. Maintain a balanced perspective, thinking about things in an objective way, because sometimes we get stressed because we are not rational in our thinking. We are not rational in our thinking. We are not objective in our thinking. So have a balanced perspective. Then remember, you are not alone. Remember, you are not alone. You have your people that still love you, irrespective of whether you won or you did not win. Then also remember, you're not the only one who has lost. Actually, the ones that won are fewer than the ones that lost.
Exactly.
The ones that won are very few, but the ones that lost are very many.
We had more than 16,000
contesting,
and we only wanted 1,800.
Exactly.
So the 15,000 and more.
15,000 did not win. So you're not alone. You're not alone. Console yourself with that. Then use things like statements like I instead of you when you're discussing with somebody. Because when you start saying, you did not do this, you did not do, you are attacking and condemning, and it becomes a heated debate. Avoid social media and news. Sometimes just switch off and don't even watch the news and don't even go to social media. I'm telling you. And then also the exchange between people also makes you become more agitated, makes you more, and then they are all mixed opinions. There are those for, there are those against. Those for have points. Those against have points. So avoid social media and news if you can, and for some time, just relax. Actually, I want to give this one as an example. When the lady, Hillary Clinton, did not make it, the following day, somebody met her on the hills somewhere in the forest, on the hills. Let me not call it forest, because forest looks like now you are deep inside the forest. But it's an area where it is a scenic beauty. Met them there. Hillary Clinton with her husband, holding hands, just walking in that scenery. Just walking in that scenery. So, avoid social media. You isolate yourself. You go somewhere where you can be able to enjoy yourself. Understand that you are an equal, or you are an equal competitor, even if you did not make it. And then you also understand, in every competition there is a winner or a loser. I found these people talking about football, who is playing with what. In that football there'll be a winner and there'll be a loser. So or there'll be postponed winning. So they need to understand that. Then social support, the people that are around you, let them, those that have positive vibes and positive energy. Don't go staying with people that have very negative energy that makes you feel even worse at the end of the day. So social support, meditation, think through your life, think through what has happened and what is going to happen. Prayer also helps greatly. Eat a well-balanced diet, identify your feelings and write them down, if you can write them down, or talk about them, and then draw strength, from the people that are around. If you cannot be able to cope completely, visit a therapist. We have very many psychologists around. We have very many people that can be able, psychologists, even preachers. People go to preachers, to their pastors, to their religious leaders, also to share with them. So when you do that, you will come out strong. You will live to fight another day. Don't get depressed. Don't get frustrated. These are elections, and in any election, there must be a winner, and there must be someone whose winning has been postponed. And that does not mean that the person who has not been elected is not good enough. It doesn't mean that. It does not mean that the person who was not elected is not good enough. He is good enough, just that he was competing with another good enough person. So that is something that they need to consider, and everything will be fine.
Regardless of all those, Madam Joyce, either winning or losing, organizations must move.
Yes.
For instance, let me take an example of a business like a hotel.
Yes.
And my employees, mimi ni boss, si kujihusisha na politics. But wale watu nimepea kazi walikuwa wanajihusisha. And it happened, really happened. Wakaenda elections, nini. Now, character may change, Madam Joyce. Productivity.
Okay.
This thing, productivity.
Okay.
Haiko tena. Should I sack them one day?
I think organizations, one thing they can also do is to talk to their employees to not talk about politics when they are at work. That one helps. Because again, there are some people that are feeling like, nitaenda kukutana na Chacha, na vile Chacha alikuwa ananiambia ata yule mtu anasupport ata win, na kweli amewin, so how will I face Chacha? So if they agree that all employees should not discuss politics. That place will become better for them now to be able to work. Ongea mambo ya weather, ongea mambo ya, all these other things that are around, shule, nini, anything, but not school fees. Talk about those things. Yes, bei ya unga, but don't talk about politics. Because now this is what is making some people not be able to go and work comfortably. Now, the employees also need to know life must continue. And they also need to know, even if the candidate of their choice won, they would still need to go to work and take care of their families. That is for sure. They would still need to go and work and take care of their families. This person that you have voted for doesn't mean that he's the one who was coming to take care of your basic needs. You still have your basic needs that you need to cater for. So people should go back to work. If you are working in an organization, go back to work and be productive in that particular organization. Whether candidate A won or candidate B won, or whether they didn't win, you need to work for your family. Even if these people were going to win, they were not going to work for you. You would have to work for yourself. So employers, what they can do is to get in contact with their employees, is to have a meeting, is to share, and to basically encourage the employees, encourage the employees that now it is back to work and people should continue with their work, even though the candidate they supported did not make it. After all, these candidates that we were supporting were not coming to work for us. So let us continue to do our work. Yes, let us continue to do our work.
We have 1 minute, Madam Joyce Mghoi, before we leave. One word and the last
there is
one.
Hope.
There's hope.
There is hope. There is hope for those that did not make it. They may make it next time. For those that supported people that did not make it, it is still well. It is still well. And let's hope the people that were elected will be able to serve all of us irrespective. Yes.
Umetufunza leo ukatuambia kwamba wao si losers.
No.
Watu ambao tumesema
postponed winning. Postponed winning. And they are going to win another time. Wow. They will win. They are living to fight another day. Yeah. So let them not give up.
Ipo siku jaribu tena msikilizaji.
Yes.
Madam Joyce Mghoi, thank you very much.
Thank you.